Guys, it's Jacob from Stringbuzz here, stringbuzzworld.org being the music journalism site. Links are in the description down below. And we have a brand new song review for you today, and it's the latest track by Yellowcard, and that's The Place We Set Afire. So I'm going to refer to the original article as I usually do for these videos, so I hope you enjoy. So I actually missed when Yellowcard were at their most famous during their peak commercial period, and I actually missed when Yellowcard dropped this album earlier this year, I want to say. So I've obviously not had the chance to review that, so I thought I'd review the main single off of said album. They've been around since the year I was born, so it's kind of crazy that they've been around for 20 years at this point. Who would have thought? I mean, growing up, even though I didn't really, like I said, I sort of missed their peak period, there was still sort of a common name when tossed about when you're thinking of the big bands in the pop-punk discography. So they've just released a music video for this track and an official audio video, so I think it's a good time to review their final outing as a group. Well, despite me never being the biggest fan of their music in the past, or really getting into their music rather, I actually thought this was a really strong way to finish what has been an excellent career as a group. It's powerful, it has a lot of surprising variation, which if you couldn't already tell, I couldn't expect. The guitar melodies on the lead guitar especially, played alongside the vocals, are very memorable in a sort of homophonic sense, and the vocal performance is also quite strong on this record. Although it does follow many stereotypical pop-punk tropes which you could hear any group use around at the moment, it didn't feel like nearly as cheesy or cliche as many of the other groups make them out to be. I mean, if you compare how well this group aged in comparison to sort of acts like Blink-182, I didn't really want to say that, Sum 41, even Good Charlotte, and see how they have aged, you can see a clear difference in quality over the last 5 years specifically, and I think Yellowcard proves that with this outing. Production wise, the guitars possess great tones and didn't sound nearly as noisy and uncontrolled as many other pop-punk guitars sound in their retrospective productions, and I don't mean that in a frenetic style, I just mean that the pop-punk guitars aren't usually very well mixed, so this is a big improvement for me. Also, the bass is actually fairly thick in this mix, and that never happens in pop-punk tracks, so huzzah for that. The standout for me though has to be the percussion's production on this track, since the toms in particular sounded absolutely terrific, obtaining a depth to them that sounded almost tribal, primal, whatever you want to say, that ends in "all" to me, so I really enjoyed that as well. So sure, the vocals are a little too clean, I usually say that about pop-punk, especially modern pop-punk, and a little too gated, a little too noise corrected, but I've heard much worse in the genre as of late, and just in rock music in general, so I'm not too peeved about that. I like the strings that were incorporated into some sections, since they varied up the texture, and as an individual layer they actually throw new and exciting timbre into the mix, so all in all, a really solid production. When it comes to the musicality on this track, it's very simple and it is your average pop-punk formula, and it's executed well, so that's why it works so well for me in comparison to the competition, as I've already mentioned. The vocal melodies are catchy, and the chorus hook especially had me humming along even on the third, fourth, fifth listen, which just shows a replayability factor about it, which is always exciting to hear. The lead guitar melodies, as I've already said during this review, are also catchy and work out well to give a little more substance to the track to chew on, which again just adds to that replayability of the track. The bass line is functional though, and to be honest, the chord progressions aren't particularly memorable, but I didn't really expect too much more because it is just strummed. I like the tom bass sequences during the verses, as it gave the track that stadium quality which it really needed as that finale single. If they wanted to go out with a bang, then this was the way to do it. It didn't really reinvent the wheel for me, and I wasn't really looking for that, but they didn't have to do that, as I've already said, so it's perfectly competent as an outing as well as being catchy. Lyrically, the track is actually quite well thought out, as it's both relatable from my own personal perspective anyway, as well as telling a story of the group quite imaginatively. It's felt personal whilst also being relatable, if you couldn't already make, I've literally just said that, yeah. All in all, it's a really solid pop-punk track, and a really great way for Yellowcard to bow out while still on top. This is the way you do it, so I gave it a G rating of 7 out of 10, which is well above average. So if you like this video, then please leave a like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.